In a moment that shocked the country, he had fame, wealth, and a terrible fall from grace. As the judge's gavel rang out in a Las Vegas courtroom, Austin Chumlee Russell, the lovable and quirky star of History Channel's hit show Pawn Stars, fell to the floor. The reality TV star's legs buckled under him, his face lost all color, and he passed out, leaving people gasping and court officers rushing to his side. This wasn't just another celebrity scandal. It was the dramatic end of a legal battle that what really happened behind the scenes. What dark secrets did fame reveal about the man that millions of people welcomed into their living rooms every week? How did a pawn shop worker with no formal training become one of reality TV's most recognizable faces, only to risk losing it all in a single moment of judgment when the face fades? Today we're going to look into the shocking rise, devastating fall, and unexpected redemption of one of who are TV's most mysterious stars. Before he became famous as Chumlee, his name was just Austin Lee Russell. He was born on September 8, 1982, in Henderson, Nevada. His path to fame began innocently enough when he started working at the gold and silver pawn shop when he was 21 years old. It wasn't fame or fortune that brought him there. It was friendship. His childhood friend Corey Harrison had introduced him to the family business, and neither of them could have imagined that this simple job would launch them both into the general attention. When Pawn Stars first aired on the History Channel in 2009, the show's premise was simple: record the daily activities of the Harrison family's pawn shop in Las Vegas, showing interesting items, haggling techniques, and the unique personalities behind the counter. While Rick Harrison and his son Corey were the show's official stars, Chumlee quickly won over the viewers. People liked how laid back he was, how curious he was, and how he would suddenly know a lot about a subject. Reality TV stars usually have polished personalities, but Chumlee was refreshingly honest. He wasn't afraid to make mistakes on camera or ask questions that others might find obvious. This honest approach to TV struck a chord with viewers across America, and as the show's popularity grew, so did Chumlee's personal brand. He started selling things outside of the pawn shop, like novelty items and t-shirts with his likeness and catchphrases. What started out as a simple job turned into a lucrative career, and Chumlee was feeling great. But beneath the surface of his newfound fame, Chumlee was struggling with the pressures of fame. Like many people thrust into the spotlight, he found the change difficult. The constant attention of the public eye took its toll, and he fought with his weight, a struggle that was shown on national TV and became the subject of mean comments online. The gap between his public persona and his private life grew as the seasons went on. As time went on, Chumlee wasn't just a person, he was a brand, a character, and an asset to a TV network. This difference between his public image and his private life created a situation under constant pressure that would finally break. In 2016, officials raided Chumlee's home in Las Vegas. What started as an investigation into a sexual assault claim took an unexpected turn when police found a large amount of cash and several guns, some of which were illegal and some of which were controlled. Drugs like methamphetamine, marijuana, and anxiety medicines. The raid revealed a disturbing side of Chumlee's personal life that was very different from the harmless, good-natured character that fans had grown to love. He was charged with multiple felonies related to drugs and weapons, which could end not only his career but also his freedom. News of Chumlee's legal problems quickly spread. The media went crazy right away. Headlines kept asking what would happen to Pawn Stars, and magazines dug up old photos of them. For Chumlee, the stakes could not have been higher. If he was found guilty on all charges, he could have spent years in prison, lost his TV career, and had his reputation ruined forever. The pressure built as he faced not only legal consequences, but also the possibility of losing everything he had worked for since joining the show. The emotional weight was crushing, and as the case moved towards trial, Chumlee found himself in the middle of a legal storm that threatened to consume him. In full, the most dramatic part of Chumlee's story happened in court, where prosecutors told of the dangerous double life the celebrity was living. The defense, on the other hand, tried to show that Chumlee had never been in trouble with the law before, and that he had done good things for the community. They said that the weapons were part of a collection, and that the drugs were for personal use, not for selling. Even though these things were done, there was a lot of proof, and the prosecution pushed for a strict arguing that public figures should be held to a higher standard because of their influence. The tension in the courtroom was palpable as both sides made their cases leading up to the moment that would decide Chumlee's fate. On the day of his sentencing, the courthouse was packed with reporters and curious onlookers. Chumlee stood in front of the judge, clearly shaken but calm as he waited for the decision that would shape his future. The judge's verdict: 3 years of probation and mandatory counseling, 200 hours of community work and regular drug tests. Any violation would lead to jail time right away. As the sentence was read, the gravity of the situation hit. Chumlee's face paled and his body shook, and then in a moment that would be covered in entertainment news, he fell to the floor. Court officers rushed to help him, and the room erupted in shock. This physical breakdown seemed to show how much the whole thing had hurt him emotionally after he was sentenced. Chumlee was faced with a difficult decision. Would he let his legal problems define him, or would he use them to make a change? Perhaps surprisingly to people who had been following the news about his case, he chose the latter. He began a journey of personal transformation that began with publicly taking full responsibility for his actions. He admitted that his fame had made him make bad decisions and said he was sorry for letting down his friends and family. This admission of responsibility was the start of his story of redemption. Chumlee not only promised to follow the rules of his probation, but also to make big changes in his life. One of the most obvious changes was his focus on health. He had gastric bypass surgery and committed to a healthier lifestyle. The results were dramatic. He lost 160 pounds, the physical manifestation of the changes he was making inside. He also put his energy into new businesses, most notably opening Chumlee's Candy on the Boulevard in Las Vegas. Vegas candy store that sells old and new candies. This new direction let him connect with fans in a good way, while building a persona separate from his role on Pawn Stars. This may have come as the biggest surprise to people in the entertainment business who thought his TV career was over. Chumlee finally went back to Pawn Stars. The producers and the Harrison family supported him through his legal issues because they knew how important he was to the show and how hard he was trying to make things better. His return wasn't easy, though he had to deal with a lot of problems. He had to earn back the trust of both his co-workers and viewers by being honest about his mistakes and admitting them. Many fans liked seeing someone take responsibility and make real changes instead of just saying sorry or denying what happened. Today Chumlee is still a beloved character on Pawn Stars and works with Rick and Corey Harrison at the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop in Las Vegas. His story has gone from being a cautionary tale about the dangers of fame to an inspiring example of resilience and redemption, while he doesn't try to hide his past, and he doesn't let his worst moment define him. Instead, he's used it to connect more deeply with fans who may be going through similar things. His story shows that even famous people can make mistakes and give in to temptations, just like everyone else. It also shows that second chances are possible for those who truly feel sorry for their actions and want to make things better. Chumlee's rise, fall, and redemption teach us important lessons about human nature. Of fame and growth as a person. Being famous doesn't protect people from effects. If anything, it makes them worse. But that doesn't mean the story is over. Real change doesn't happen when you try to avoid the focus during tough times. It happens when you let that spotlight shine on the process of change. Chumlee's desire to let the public see his journey, with all of its ups and downs, has made his redemption even more powerful. What might be most interesting about Chumlee's his story is how he's taken back control of his storyline, instead of letting headlines or mugshots define him. He wrote a new story that is all about growth and being happy. This change didn't happen overnight. He had to show up every day for years and show that he was committed to a different road through actions as well as words. His journey shows how strong resolve is and how people can change, even when they have to do it in front of a harsh public eye. When we think about Chumlee's story, we're reminded that our worst moments, our biggest mistakes, and our most public failures don't have to be the end of our stories. Instead, they can be painful but powerful turning points that help us grow in a world that's quick to forget and slow to forgive. Chumlee's comeback shows that redemption is possible. If you truly feel bad about what you did, keep trying, and are ready to do the hard work of personal change. The trip from courtroom collapse to even after a very public fall, it is possible to rise again, maybe even stronger and more genuine than before. The question for all of us isn't whether we'll face problems or make mistakes, it's how we choose to respond when we do. In that choice lies the potential for our own redemption stories. As Chumlee continues to build his life and career after the scandal, he stands as living proof that one moment, even if it brings you to your knees in it, your life doesn't have to be defined by what happens in court. What matters is what you do next, and the choices you make when you get back on your feet. That's the most important lesson Chumlee's story taught us. Even when millions of people are watching, we can always find a way to rise again if we are brave, responsible, and determined.